Hello. I have never done one of these before, so please bear with me. My name is Shauna Cure, and I am sitting here as Shauna Cure. I could also be sitting here in a pair of scrubs because I'm a midwife, 15 years service in the health service, but I'm not because I don't want that to sway you. I could also be sitting here with my Royal College of Midwives hat on because I'm a workplace representative in Southern Trust in Northern Ireland for 12 years, but I'm not doing that either. I could also sit here and say, oh, I'm a PhD student and I've been studying research for nearly 4 years, not very successfully, but I've been studying it, but I'm not doing that either. I could say a lot of things, but I'm not saying any of those things. I'm saying this is just me, Shauna Cure, and anything I say here is my opinion based on the facts that I have looked into in what's happening in the COVID-19 response. And I am basing what I'm going to say on one thing only, and that is data. But I'll explain all that as I go along. I'm asking you, please be kind in response to this. I matter too, and my family matters too, so please be kind and listen to the end. There are a lot of people with huge opinions on this, and a lot of them are absolutely entitled to have them. I'm going to call them the big dots. There are a lot of people have big dots. The scientists, the healthcare providers, the politicians, the journalists, lots and lots of people have big, big dots. And that's really important. And they have really valid points to make. I don't have any big dots, but I have lots of small dots. And me having all my small dots has helped me to join all the dots of this together. This such a confusing situation for everybody. But I'm going to try and start at the start. Now, I have no script here, I'm winging it. I have a wee list of my dots and I have my poem that I wrote, and that's what I'm going to finish on. And the reason I wrote that down is because I want to say it like I wrote it the first time, because that's what's important to me. So I'm going to start talking about my dots. So some of the dots in my life are, first of all, my family. My children are my life, as any mother would say. But I'm just saying that my children are my absolute life. They have had many challenges in their lives, as we all have, and they have all grown up to be beautiful people inside and out. And I just hope they come to no harm over this, either way, no matter what way it goes. My parents, who aren't with me anymore, they are my dots. They were big dots for me. My daddy was a union man, or shop steward, he used to say, because he believed in the truth and fairness. And many, many years ago, when I was too young to remember the ins and outs of it, my daddy stood on the side of the workers in an industrial dispute in a factory in Lurgan, and the management weren't happy with him because he didn't toe the line. And my daddy got blacklisted for not toeing the line. So that's a big dot for me. My mummy would probably be saying to me at the minute, Shauna, shush, stop it, and I understand that. But she would also, I think, be very proud of my strength because she taught me that. And she would be very proud of how much love is involved in what I'm trying to do because she taught me that. I also have 3 brothers who are very intelligent men who are questioning my sanity right now, and that's okay. I know they love me no matter what, just the way I am. I also have a wide extended family who love and support me no matter what crazy I come out with, and that's okay too. But on this one, there's a lot of support. So that's my family bit. And that's very subjective, I know, because that's my world. So I'm going to get into more robust data, if that's the way we want to put it. So maths. I am a maths and numbers freak. Now, I'm not a big dot in maths, I'm a small dot, but I love numbers. When I was in second year at school, I got 99% in a maths exam that took me about 15 minutes to do. And I was ashamed because people mocked me for getting 99% in a maths exam. But I learned over the years not to be ashamed of that. So on the basis of that, on the basis of I love numbers and I like numbers, all along, something's not really adding up here. There's something not right. My gut was telling me something's not right. And then one night in work, a dear friend handed me something, and she handed me something that would help me to know that I'm not insane. and she handed me one thing and one thing only, and that was Worldometers. And Worldometers, in my opinion, has to be the figures that everybody's going on. These statistics are updated every single day. And what I'm going to show you now is based on, I think it was yesterday morning, I've lost track of my days, Monday morning statistics. By the way, this is Tuesday morning, 6:30 in my kitchen. So on Monday morning, I tried to work with the maths to try to simplify the maths in a way that people would listen, would get it. I don't know. It makes sense to me, but I know maths isn't everybody's thing. So for this example only, I'm going to show you Ireland. You can rub out the numbers and put in any country and use the statistics of worldometers.org to come to the same conclusions. But because I have a wee bit of a research dot as well, I can show you what the numbers mean and why they seem to be being misinterpreted at the minute, in my opinion. Right, so don't worry, I'll send these pictures up as well of these all if you can't make it out. So in Ireland at the minute, we have 906 positive cases. We'll call that A. We also have 4 deaths so far. We'll call that B. We have 29 serious or critical. We'll call that C. And our total population of the country is this. I can't even read that out. Is D, right? So let's say we wanted to do the number of positive cases. How many positive people have died? I love algebra for things like this. So the number of deaths is B, and the number of positive cases is A. And it brings you this, which is less than 1%. Now this is Ireland at the minute. Now you can only say this figure is correct if every other person in the country was tested and every other person in the country was negative. Right, bear that in mind. So that's one end of the scale. That's worst case scenario at the minute. So the other end of the scale is B over D. So that's the total deaths out of your total population. And this number is based on if we tested every other person in the country and they were all positive, this is the number you would get. So either of those are unlikely because we're not going to get testing everybody because that's a logistical nightmare. So somewhere in the middle of this is the true projection for Ireland based on the statistics yesterday morning. So let's go to critical because some people are worried about critical beds and I understand that fear. So C over A, right? So that's the serious and critical people divided by the positive tested cases so far. And that gives you this percent, which is 3%, which is tough enough, 3%. Like. And that again assumes that every single other person in the country tests negative. So then we can go to C over D, which is the serious and critical cases divided by the entire population. And this figure is based on the fact of everybody else in the country testing positive. Sorry, I'm relieving myself now. Positive, okay? So that's the fact. So that's the numbers. I like numbers. So you can take out Ireland, take out the numbers, leave the A, B, C, D's in, and you can use this to test my theory. Just test my theory with Worldometers at the minute and see what percentages you get. There's more than me out there that's a number nerd, so just try that one. So that's the maths. That's one of my wee dots. Another one of my wee dots is that I work in the healthcare system, that I'm a health professional, right? I have to put that out there because that's where that wee dot of knowledge comes from. So I have a small understanding of viral spread and what a virus is. And I even know why this is called a coronavirus because I have some very intelligent people in my life. So how do you destroy a coronavirus? You wash your hands effectively with warm soapy water. That breaks down the virus so it doesn't get into your body in the first place. You also avoid coughing and sneezing over other people so that they don't get the virus off you just in case you're infected. And that's good advice. That's brilliant advice, actually. Always when there's viral spread, be careful when you're coughing and sneezing around people, especially you're vulnerable, of course. Now, that's working on let's try and prevent it, right? So say even if you don't use your effective hand washing and you're not careful when you're coughing or sneezing and you unfortunately get this virus, even at that, you still have a greater than 99% chance of survival going on the current global statistics. Okay? Somebody else can work out the numbers here. I would love Carol Boardman to look on the numbers here because I think she'll agree with me. Anyway, the only reason I can bring that kind of data analysis into it is because of my wee PhD dot. So I have studied at PhD level for 4 years, not very successfully, because I keep hitting hurdles, both with my mental health, with the logistics of life, and all of that. But through my study, I met a remarkable woman, and I am going to name her because I think she's amazing, and I hope she doesn't mind being linked to me in this. Only because she's a wonderful person. I'm not saying she shares my opinion. And her name is Professor Marlene Sinclair, and she's one of the best dots ever I got. She's an amazing woman. She believes in me, and she did from the start. She kept trying to tell me I could do it, this PhD. She knew why I wanted to do it, and she knew why that was important. And Marlene has had her own naysayers in her life, but she has stood strong. And some people look at Marlene, and she's lovely blonde hair, lovely and bubbling, and they actually miss the amazing person that she is. She knows research inside out more than anybody I know. And she used to tear me apart with my initial work because I hadn't a clue, because I'd never done research before. And she kept telling me about identifying my population, taking my mitigating factors, all your impacting variables, and you have to compare like with like. Now, this is not what's happening here. And this is where I feel that their trajectories are coming from, because they're not comparing like with like. And anybody who has a wee bit of research head on will understand what I mean there, but I'm going to try and explain it anyway, and I hope I don't sound patronising. I'm dumbing it down for me as well. So to compare like with like, you have to do what we were doing there with the algebra. You can't take epicenter data, like some of those places in Italy where they're at the epicenter of this, and it's really sad that they're under such pressure. But you can't take epicenter data, and I'm probably saying that wrong, and put it round the rest of the world like that's what the kind of figures we're going to go for. Because that's not comparing like with like. Never mind the fact that you haven't taken in all the factors that might create that data in the first place. That is not comparing like with like. And that's where the algebra helps. And I'm going to quote a wee friend of mine called Faggy, who recently put a thing up on Facebook, and he got hammered for it. But he's a very brave soul. And he said, the comparison was, it's like walking down to the sea, putting a cup in, lifting it out, and you've water in your cup, but you've no fish. And concluding from that there's no fish in the sea. That makes perfect sense to me, because that cup is your epicenter. And what you're doing is trying to transfer the data from your epicenter right out to the whole sea. Now, I hope that makes that point. That's the end of that point. Okay, where else was I going with my dots? The people that I have met in my life. I, particularly in the last 15 years, have been sent wonderful people in my life. I have met so many beautiful people. And I'm not going to name them all, but I will name some of them, the ones that I know won't mind. I have met people who have taught me about law and politics, because I'm not interested in it. Well, I'm a wee bit interested in law. Politics doesn't interest me at all. And I have one particular friend, we'll call her Elaine, and she has tried to get me interested in politics for a long time, and I just go along with it because I don't want to have an argument with her. And she's tried to get me to read between the lines, and that's what I'm doing here, reading between the lines. And I'm being arsey about it because I'm a grammar nerd, because I'm reading between the lines and seeing what's really being said. But that's just my opinion, so we'll leave that to one side, but it's one of my dots. I have other friends who have dealt for months with the bankers in this country and in other countries, trying to sort out what goes on and whatever goes on in banks. And I'm not getting into the details of that, but I've learned from them, okay? I have friends who are conspiracy theorists, and I love them, love listening to them. And I know they probably think I am one too now. Maybe, I don't know. And I never would dismiss somebody's theory, especially when they're coming with the evidence to back it up. And I listen to it all. And I love that they're not afraid to say it. And I'm not afraid anymore. And this is a huge risk for me. I think, I have a job, I have a family, I have all of that to go back to after this gets out. But it's a calculated risk for me. This is too important. Anyway, I could go on and on about my dots all day. I could go on and on about the people in my life. Another woman in my life, we'll call her Kay. And she was a very smart woman. And when she first met me, she didn't really get me, and that's all right. A lot of people don't. I don't mind that. But I grew on her. I know I grew on her, and she got me eventually. And she used to say to me, don't ever be afraid to put your head above the parapet, Shauna, even when it hurts. And I hope she's proud of me for putting my head above the parapet, even though this is hurting me, this is hurting our whole country right now. People are in pain, and that's why I'm not going to say everything that's been going through my head this last couple of days. I'm just going to say some of it. I have another person in my life who I was talking, just texting on and off, and that person said to me, you're so very brave, Shauna, for looking right when everybody else was looking left. And I just said, oh, wow, what a compliment. Thank you so much. And this is a very intelligent man. I won't name him unless he wants me to. I don't even know, I'm not going to finish up on all my dots, but believe me, I have lots of small dots. And I know there are people out there with big, big dots, and that's really important too. But because I have lots of wee dots and wee tiny bits of information in all those areas, the politics, the maths, the English, the healthcare profession, I have a lot of dots there. So my dots go further than one big dot, if that makes sense. I have no agenda here. I can only lose. You know what I mean? So I have no agenda. So please respect the fact that I am doing this out of love for my family, for my country, for our future, for my job. That's the only reason that I am doing this. I'm going to finish up because this is draining me and I really, really want to sleep, but I can't sleep till I do this. So I'm going to talk about two other people in my life, two other dots, big dots. So anyway, one of them, we'll call him Sean, because he is called Sean, and I'm Shauna, S-E-I-N-A, and he's Sean, S-E-I, and that's important, because we were both called after a Sean, our Uncle Sean, right? And our Sean is a highly intelligent man, highly intelligent, and humble with it. No, he's not a bit humble with it, but anyway, I love him to pieces, and he knows everything there is to know about drug transmission and drug half-shelf life and all that crack and everything else. He's fantastic, he's inspirational. And when I realised that our Sean was on the same side as me, and he has a big dot, he has maybe two big dots, like he has his science head and he has his intellectual head. He has two big dots. He still doesn't have as many wee dots as me, but I'll deal with that. And our Sean has stood firm with me on this, and it hasn't been easy because I'm hard to listen to at the best of times, but so's he, so we've got through it. And that's my cousin on one side of my family. And then I have a cousin on the other side of my family, and I know he'll not care about me saying his name, and that's our Terry. And our Terry is what most people would probably call a conspiracy theorist. You know what? I probably called him myself in the past. I'm not going to lie. And actually in the last few months, me and our Terry we've been arguing, because we argue over everything, because that's what we do. We argue over everything. We argue over everything. And one of his favourite lines to me is always, shut up, Shauna. Shut up, Shauna. And see, during all of this, when all we have talked, he hasn't once said to me, shut up, Shauna. Not once. Because he knows. And that's okay. And our Terry said something to me tonight. And I've had lots of moments with him on the phone. But he used to always say to me about holding the silence, because I'm not very good with silence. And I was silent because what we were talking about was overwhelming me. And he said, well, what's wrong? Are you all right? And I says, I'm just holding the silence, Terry. I'm just drinking it all in. And it was like a perfect moment. That myometrial moment, my midwifery colleagues will understand that. And he says, it sounds so beautiful when you're silent. And I thought, what a lovely line. But anyway, I'll leave that to one side as well. So then when I come out with all of this, people say to me, so why do you think it's happening? What about the virus? He's saying the virus isn't real and all that. I am not saying the virus isn't real. I'm saying the virus is real. It's a virus, it's real. And it will spread like viruses spread. They go away again, that's it. But it won't spread like normal viruses spread, because we, with this intervention, are stopping the normal viral spread, in my opinion. And I will say, and I can't believe I'm going to say that there was one point where I agreed with Boris Johnson way back at the start, where he said, wash your hands effectively, don't be coughing or sneezing around people, no need to close the schools, there'll be something about viral spread of herd immunity. I don't even know exactly what he said because I don't watch news. I don't have a TV that gets me normal channels. I just watch ITV Hub and Netflix and stuff. I haven't watched one news broadcast since it started. My only data source is Worldometers. So he said something away at the start about not pulling people out of schools and whatever, and that people will die. And he was right. He was factually right. People will die, but that doesn't mean 10,000 people. That could mean 2 people. And he's still telling the truth. 2 people could die, 22 people could die, 42 people could die, or 10 million people could die. In saying people could die, he didn't quantify it. So I don't know why he got hammered for that one. But anyway. But by saying that, he's given himself a perfect exit strategy. Bear with me a wee second. So this is all. So he said all that, and then the people went mad. Oh my God, close the schools. He said people's going to die, and the fear got in around everybody. And the fear is so very real, and I have never once disrespected that fear. Not once have I been disrespectful to people. Not once have I disrespected the enormity of the fear. But people have been disrespectful to me, very disrespectful to me. People have seen fit to slate me online, to say things like, I should be jailed for 5 years because I'm stupid. Now, I'm a lot of things. I'm imperfect in many ways, but I'm not stupid. People have said things like, what else did they say to me? Oh, I'm a nutter. People said to me that I was being irresponsible with my social media input. Not one thing of mine was copied or pasted, was shared from some random site, and not one factually incorrect post did I put up. If I was saying an opinion, I stated it as an opinion. So I did not do anything irresponsible online because I take my role in life very seriously. As a mother, as a health professional, as a union representative, as all those things, I take that very seriously. So I was very mindful of what I put online. I didn't spread any lies, just facts, all the time, just facts, stick to the facts. So anyway, where was I going with? Sorry, I've lost my run a wee bit. Oh yeah, why do I think this is all happening? That's not where I was going. Why do I think, right. Anyway, Boris has his perfect exit strategy, right? So when I was starting to say all my stuff and talking to Facebook and everybody was attacking me, then I started to realise I was going for the wrong audience anyway, because some people just don't like me and that is okay, and some people don't get me and that is okay. But I was going the wrong way about it. I was focusing on the negative all the time, the fear. And it was getting to me too. And I had a really bad weekend. I had one of the worst weekends of my life. And it was Mother's Day. And I had a terrible experience in a graveyard in Lurgan on Mother's Day, a very sad experience. I was also at a funeral last week of a very dear friend, and that was another terrible experience because of this, the response to COVID-19. Let's call it what it is. So I started to question myself, why is this happening? Why is this happening? What's happening here? So anyway, like I said, I thought Boris was right at the outset, but then the people called for the schools to close and everything else. So eventually they closed the schools and all. So with choice comes responsibility. The people have chosen to close the schools. The people are calling for the troops to be back on the street, even though they fought for years to get them off the streets. The people have chosen that, right? So what nailed it for me was tonight was Boris's speech. And I didn't even see it. Somebody did send me a screenshot of a couple of lines out of it, but I didn't see it because I don't watch TV. But I watched Facebook and I watched to see what people were saying, and I watched between the lines to see what people were saying, and I realised he didn't call it. He didn't call it a lockdown. He let the people choose. He is letting the people choose, because then down the line here, when this doesn't add up, when the numbers don't add up, he's in a win-win. He's in a heads I win, tails you lose situation. Because either way, if down the line the numbers don't add up and people didn't die the way it's been projected, people will all think, yay, they saved us. The special measures that have cost us so dearly have saved us. Not my opinion, to be fair. So that's one form of it, right? And then when the historians are talking about this time, which they will, they can look back and go, why did you let this happen, Boris, on them numbers? You were the Prime Minister. He can say, I tried to stop it. Because he did, because he did try to stop it at the start. And he didn't call a lockdown. The people did. The people closed the schools because that's what they wanted, and they're making their choices out of fear, and I understand that. And I am not minimising the impact of the fear for a second. I am just saying the people chose it, right? Anyway, I don't want to get into the theories around why I think this is happening or anything else. All I can say is that from the outset, I felt, because of my maths particularly, that the response was disproportionate to the threat, right? So the virus and the response. So I thought these were disproportionate. So I thought, why this mismatch? And now I've realised, because the response isn't about the threat, in my opinion. The response is about something else. And I'm not going to get into what I think the response is, because that doesn't matter right now, because people are in pain right now, people are suffering, people are scared, and I'm not going to add to that as to what I think about why the response is bigger than the threat, disproportionately. Going on my maths. So anyway, I'm going to leave it. This is Stephen, by the way, the cat. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to finish on my poem. I have so many other things to say, but I'm not going to say it. But I'm going to sleep better now that I've taped this. And I don't know when I'll put it out, but I just want you to know that it's on the 24th of March at 6:30 in the morning. And I know I've rambled on a bit. So I'm just going to finish with my poem that I put up on Facebook the other day. And this was after I had my epiphany moment, because Mother's Day was really hard for me, and I put a big, long, dramatic Facebook post up signing myself out of it all, because I had to close it off for my mental health. And then I had my light bulb moment, like Marlene used to say, the ta-da moment. You know, I thought, no, I just need to change my focus here. I need to change what I'm looking at. I need to look the other way. So I looked the other way, and I wrote this poem, and it's called hashtag positive benefits. In the future, we will visit our elderly more often. In the future, we will be more particular with hand hygiene, especially in times of viral spread. In the future, we will be thankful for the little things. In the future, we will be more respectful of visiting hours at hospital wards, and our patients will get the rest they so badly need. In the future, we will realise that indeed not only do superheroes wear scrubs, they also wear tracksuits and jeans. In the future, we will work together as a government and a people to find the best way forward, and we will respect the fact that everyone has a role to play. In the future, we will know the value of community spirit, particularly during hard times. In the future, our children will value their education because they have learned how lucky they are. In the future, we will never underestimate the impact of a stroke on a keyboard. In the future, people will respect what an emergency department is all about. In the future, we will dance like no one is watching because we won't care after this. In the future, we will think twice before we believe everything we read online. In the future, we will know that if social media broke it, then social media can fix it. Hold tight, we've got this. In the future, we will hug. Lots. In the future, we will realise that when we all pull together, we can achieve so much more. In the future, we will be kind. Way to go, Caroline. You done it. You asked them all to be kind, and they will be in the future. That's all I can say right now. My heart is absolutely very sore. Much love. Please be kind, and remember that me and my family matter too. Take care.